What's happening, guys? Little something I've been wanting to do here for a while, go over some basic skate maintenance. I know I've got a handful of friends that are fairly new to roller skating. Just wanted to show you a few of the things that I've learned over the years to help make sure everything is rolling and staying as consistent and even as possible on your skates. I'm going to go through a full breakdown here. I'm going to take everything apart, take the bearings out, show you how I clean and lube my bearings. Kind of the whole 9-10 yards here of regular full thorough maintenance on the skates. But I want to start with a couple quick little things that I like to check on a regular basis, or when I throw my skates on or when I get to the rink. A couple of little things that I look for. Let's see, I'm going to try to bring these up in. Let's see how this works. Now when I get going on the video here, there are going to be some parts that are a little long and repetitive, but I'm going to try to fast forward through those and just give you a brief description before I start on what I'm doing and looking for. So a couple things to keep in mind. One is your tightness on your wheel. You should have just a little click in there. Click, 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 back and forth. Just a little bit of play, nice and smooth. It's not bound up. If I were to take this in a little bit, let's see, when I'm tightening, I will usually tighten all the way in, and I go out about a half turn. So right there's full snug. You see I got no play at all. I like to take it out half turn, and you're rocking. There's that little wiggle in there. I hear a little slight click, but that's what I like to do. Once you know what that feels like, and that when you hear it, when I throw my skates on, I'll just give all my wheels a quick little touch just to make sure that they're all even and nothing's bound up. So that's just a quick, easy one. Another thing on these roll line plates, something to watch out for. These have little click adjusters, and it adjusts the tension of your cushions here, which will make your trucks more stiff, or if they're loose, they'll make the trucks have more play and be a little more loose. One thing I found, and this is just the roll lines in particular, is when I tighten and loosen, so this is the set screw here, you'll loosen that, and then this is how you're going to make your adjustments with this big gold nut here. Now, to make sure they're all even, it's kind of hard to make sure they're all at the same point, but you can see the threaded bolt that the nut is on, and I've just got a hair shown there. So if you look at my rear, see how there's a little more of the thread shown there. Let's see if I can get the focus right. So there's a little more thread, so my back is a little more tight than my front. But I use that visual of the thread there to show me how snug that truck is on that cushion. So my two fronts are about the same, my two rears are about the same. I know when I first got this plate, it was kind of hard to figure out where exactly I was, but that's been helpful as far as making sure that all your cushions are adjusted equally. That's going to vary from one skate to another, one truck to another, but if you have a roll line, that was a good starting point for me. So with that, I'm going to start by removing my wheels, and I'll go through a little fast forward sequence here as I do all that. Thing to note is keep them in order, because I try to rotate these evenly every time I clean them, but you'll see how I take them off with this orientation: front right over here, front or right rear over here, and you'll see I kind of lay them out as they would sit in this orientation. So I'll get to that, and then I will start chatting here and slow things back down in a sec. Alrighty, now we'll slow back down into real time. Got all the wheels taken off. Some things came to mind while I was doing that. Tools. I've got a little tool kit. I'll keep this in my bag, my skate bag. I've got a number of different wrenches in here. All your trucks and skates should come with a skate tool. Make sure you have the right tool for your skate. I know these roll lines are different than my old Arius plates. So you know, they're not universal, unfortunately. There's quite a few different sizes, but if you have the one you bought, and or if you go to your local skate shop, they'll hook you up with the right size tool you need. But I always keep that. I got, you know, washers, nuts, got the speed cream in there to keep things lubed up. But this is primarily, you know, 90% of the time, that's the tool I'm reaching for to keep things dialed in. Another thing to note, you guys may have seen or noticed, I've got these little spacers here, these washers. Not everyone is going to have these or need these. These wheels here, if you look in the back, they've got kind of this deep dish ring in the back. So if I don't put those spacers on, and I put that wheel on, can you guys see that there? I'm rubbing a little bit on the truck itself. That lip is contacting there. So I need to use 2 of those small washers to keep me spaced out. It makes a ton of nasty noise. If you ever put your wheels on and there's something like this and you take one step, you're going to feel the grind and hear the grind, and you want to avoid that. It's going to damage the trucks. It's going to scrape up your hub there. So just be careful of that. Let's see. With that said, tools, washers, I've got everything pulled apart. And I've got them set in that orientation like they were on my feet. I'm going to wait until I show you how I do my rotation. I'll do that at the end. But we'll move on to the next step here, pulling out the bearings. So give me a sec, grab that bearing puller, and then we'll go back into fast forward and real time after that. Alright, this is my bearing puller. This makes life a lot easier. I don't know, oh boy, 30 bucks probably, 40 bucks. If you're going to be doing your maintenance, you know, there are little bearing tools that you can just pop in there and pop the bearings out. That's probably all right on a full urethane wheel. With these metal hubs, it can be a sticky situation getting in and out of there. So I see this value as, you know, just a must-have for this wheel setup. If you've got the urethane wheels and you don't have an aluminum hub like this, you can probably just get one of the smaller tools and pop them in and out. But for me, this is a must-have as someone that's going to be doing their own maintenance. So we'll speed it up as I pull out all the bearings here. Alrighty, back to real time. So you might have been able to hear or see, you know, I was needing to give those a good little tap to get those bearings pulled out. Again, these aluminum hubs are just really tight. It's a tight fit, so you likely won't have that problem if you're using, you know, a urethane standard wheel. Those aluminum hubs are nice. They take out some slop and give you a nice consistent ride, but these in particular are really tight with these bones bearings. One thing I want to talk about is coning, wheel cone. You can see my front inside wheels probably both have a little bit of coning, and I try my best to avoid this. But what happens is when you're skating and you take this skate where this wheel is and you're stopping and you're sliding, you're angling that wheel down, and that's what creates a cone, which you don't want. So I always try to be real careful when I'm out there. You know, I try to use my whole foot if I'm going to drag a foot to promote even tire wear. But you can still see, even on mine here, my inside fronts have a little bit of coning there, which I don't like to see. But with that, we'll go with a rotation at this time. So I kept those as they are on your feet, and I'll just do a crisscross on both sides. So we're taking the front, putting it in the rear, and so forth. Let's see here. There we go. That's a good little mix-up. I see I'm looking at these. My outside edges are a little rounded on a lot of these wheels, so just something to keep an eye on. There's a guy in West Virginia, Nathan, that he can mill these wheels, so he can put them on a lathe and resurface them to square them up, true them up. Which I will do at some point if I need to, but you guys feel free to reach out if you need contact for someone like that. You know, I'm trying to keep these are an old Vanathane All-American wheel, and they don't quite make them like they used to. These are a lot harder than the All-Americans you'd find now. That's identified by these two symbols here. I think now you just have a plus and a plus, but the old Vanathane, the old school material, has this little like M logo. Anyway, getting long-winded there. What do I do next? I got my bearings pulled. Explain the washers, the nuts. I'm going to go through, just give these a quick wipe, and then I'll break the bearings down here momentarily and show you how I go through a good bearing cleaning. Alright, just gave those a quick wipe down. The wheels aren't, they're a little dirty, they're not too bad. If you wanted to at this time, you could take them over to the sink. Maybe I'll do that real quick. I'll take them over to the sink, get just a Brillo pad on them, clean them up. I got them apart, I may as well give them the full clean, and I'll dry them off with the paper towel. So I'm going to take a quick break, go knock these out in the sink, keep them in this order. You know, you don't want to get them all mixed up, so take note of that. And I'm going to go give them a quick wipe down, and then we'll get back to doing the bearings. So I'm going to stop the film here, and we'll be back with some clean tires. Alrighty, we got the wheels all cleaned up. Again, just some dish soap, warm water. Nothing too crazy. Hit them with a little scrub pad. Make sure you get them all dried up after that. The last thing you want is any water sitting in there getting close to the bearings. So now I'm moving on to just wiping down the outside of the bearings here. Getting these guys all, the bolt cleaned up off of them. And then we'll move into removing these gaskets. So let's see, I want to make sure we got a good shot here. So for this, boy, you just have to find what works best for you. I think this toothpick is going to be, well, maybe it'll work all right. There we go. So try to be careful. I'm chewing this guy up a little bit, but that's what's going to expose your bearings. And boy, actually these are looking pretty darn clean. I might not even run them through my alcohol here. Let's open a couple more to see how we look. Always a good sign when you go in to do maintenance and things are cleaner than you would anticipate. Let's see, let's give it a little wipe there. Darn clean, to be honest. So I tell you what, I'm going to explain what I would have done if I would have opened these up and they would have been dirty. I'm just going to re-lube these and throw them back in. We'll go into fast forward. I'm still going to remove all these caps, make sure everything looks good. And then I'll explain what I would have done and then what I'm going to do. Alright, so we'll slow back down into real time. I was using that toothpick. I swapped over to this guy. It's from my little vinyl Cricut printer. They call these a weeding tool. I thought the toothpick would be a good example and universal for everyone out there, but this works way better. Go on Amazon. It would be worth the pickup on this, I would say. A weeding tool that really helped get those out nice and quick. So what I would have done had I opened these and seen that they needed some cleaning is put them in this Bones bearing cleaner. So what you do, you take this wing nut off here and you put a bearing on, and then you put a spacer. Bearing, spacer, bearing, spacer, bearing, spacer. So you've got 8 at a time, one wheel or one skate at a time worth. I would put some 91% isopropyl alcohol in this bottle with the bearings. I'd probably fill it up about 1/3 of the way and give it a good shake. Probably do that for a minute or so. Get the bearings out on a dry cloth here, let them air dry. I've got a little air compressor in the garage. I would blow any liquid or any alcohol left on them off. But if you don't have that, just give them a little time. This alcohol will dry up real quick, and then you'll have a nice set of clean bearings. After things are all dried, cleaned off, ready to go, I go back in with some Bones Speed Cream here, and I'll typically just do 2 drops in each and give them a little spin. So let me bring you back up here, and I'll kind of run you through how that might look. So let's get left skate over here. Doesn't matter if it's left or right. The OCD shines through when it comes to all this stuff. So if I was me, I would go 1 drop there, 1 drop there, 2 drops on each one. And I don't want that to sink through, so then I would take each bearing, get that all moved around in there before it just falls through the bearing. And we'll go into fast forward because I'm just going to do that 4, 8, 12 more times. All right, back into real time. 2 drops each, gave them all a quick little spin. Now we'll go into getting these gaskets back on. Let's see, these are some just Roller Bones red bearings, nothing crazy. I've had Swisses on some of the other plates that were really nice, but bang for the buck, these little puppies get her done. You got this kind of clear end on the back and just the gasket on the front, so I always do all the cleaning and lube from this end. Let's see, let's place this gasket back on. It just pops right in. And I always like to give it a good little spin again there after you get that gasket back in. That can get bound up a little bit and get tight, so just something to watch out for. Let's get that speed cream out of the way and we will speed through putting the gaskets back in. Alright, we got all the bearing gaskets back in, everything's spinning, looking good. I think at this time, I'm trying to think if there were any notable things there. Really, these were super clean, only indoor in a rink, and honestly I've been skating on my sliders a bit more than the OGs here, so I think that's why I'm seeing how clean these are. Next step here, we're going to put the bearings back in. Make sure you keep your wheel orientation correct. I'll give you a quick demo here on using the press again. Make sure we can get that in. So again, super tight fit on these hubbed wheels here. So I try to get one started. I can push that in most of the way. You guys should be able to do that on your urethane wheels, no problem. Some of these will fight me, I'm sure. On the sped up clip, you'll see that. I try to get that started, just a hair. You drop it in there. Let's see, let's bring you up here so you guys can see what's really going on. So I got that rear set, the top set. Drop that over, and this press is going to squish that bearing right on in. And you'll know when that's set on both sides. You can see an even gap. Good to go. I made sure to wipe my hands, so we were just dealing with that oil. We've got clean wheels. Last thing you want to do is get any of that oil on your clean wheels, right? So just take note of that. Be careful. Try to keep your hands clean. and avoid getting any of that oil anywhere else. I'm going to go down a little here and we'll fast forward through, just getting the bearings all pressed. Alrighty, got all our bearings pressed back in. One gave me a little trouble there again. Super tight fit with that aluminum hub, but sometimes you just got to give it a little extra oomph to get in there. Let's go back to the trucks real quick. Depending on where you're skating, these axles will get some good grime on them or hair. You know, I always see hair bound up. But again, I haven't been on these too much, so they are surprisingly clean. I'll have to do a part 2 on slider maintenance, because I'm sure those are where the real mess is. So anyway, giving those axles a quick wipe down. Those look nice and good. And we'll start getting the wheels back on. So again, I'm going to take my right skate. I've got my right set of wheels over there in the same orientation as the skate as it's worn. And I'm going to take 2 of these washers. Washers are optional. Well, you'll know if they're optional or not for you, but you may or may not have those. Drop your wheel on. Get that nut started. And if you've stuck with this video since the beginning, you know that I go all the way to snug. Barely turns, and I take it out a half. Just that little bit of wiggle, and a nice, clean, smooth spin. So, 1 down, 7 to go. We'll speed on through. Alrighty, so we're all dialed in, everything's spinning nice and smooth, wheels are cleaned up, rotated, we've checked to make sure our bushings are all set at the same level, the tightness on all our axle nuts is right, we are ready to go hit it. Appreciate you guys watching. I hope this is at least a little helpful for someone out there. Take care of your skates, they'll surely take care of you. And I think maybe the bigger benefit is if something's wonky or something's getting loose, if something is going on or is wrong with your skates, keeping up on your maintenance will let you feel that and notice that more quickly, and potentially prevent injury or prevent a wheel falling off out there, or who knows, a number of things that can happen. But just getting your hands on them, keeping things clean, the bearings are going to last longer, you're going to be smoother out there, and everyone's a little better off. So hope you guys liked the video. Hopefully it's not too long and long-winded. Get out there, have fun. I got a little time here, but I'll be there tonight. Thank you guys.